I feel like a lot of people don't realize, like, the way we get these really good grades comes with a lot of stress sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially this year. I'm, like, fighting for my B in one of my classes because it's just so hard.
Yeah.
And it's...
Hi, welcome back to Unmuted. My name's Alyssa, and today with me I have
Sarah
and Jacob.
Today we'll be talking about high school struggles, going into high school, and now for me and Jacob, applying to colleges, which is really stressful. And I'll tell you a story of something I went through the other day that was very stressful. But I already had three people on, if you saw the third episode, talking about high school struggles. But I thought, why not have two more people, because everyone goes through their own struggles. Going into college, I'll tell you my little story real quick, which I told Jacob and Sarah not too long ago. They just found out. But I was applying for colleges. Have you had struggles applying for colleges?
Yes.
Okay, would you want to share anything?
Oh, yes. So
Okay.
I'm applying to a lot of more selective schools, and so I have a lot of writing to do.
God.
And I have just had a massive struggle just trying to come up with so many different ideas, because all of these schools want something different. And you all, for every single one of them, you want to try to convey yourself. And it's really hard when you have a ton of different prompts that are all different. And it's just crazy.
Yeah. So where are you trying to apply to?
I am applying. I actually have a pretty long list, but my top schools, some bit of a reach, it would be like Yale and Brown, some Ivy League schools, but more target would be like University of Virginia or Vassar, those schools.
Wow. Okay, let me tell my story real quick about my little incident. So I'm trying to apply to UT Austin, and I went to do my short answer questions before my essay. So it's like getting ready. You're kind of getting your brain moving. I was there for 3 hours. So an hour a question. There are 3 questions. And I was so happy about them. I FaceTimed Maddie. I was like, listen to my answers because I'm very happy with them. She was like, wow, that was so good. And I go to save. My mom's like, make sure you save it. So I go to press save. And it's like saving, and it's loading, and then it blanks out and goes to my login screen. I was like, what just happened? And I went back, and it was all gone. And I was done for the night. I closed my computer. I was like bawling my eyes out. I was like, why? Why does this happen? And which actually, okay, y'all didn't come to the church on Sunday, but there was a guest here, and he was painting, and he was talking about how. I thought about this too in my room. I talked to my mom about it. He was like talking about how God knows what's going to happen in your life already before you're even born. You just don't know it yet. So when that happened, I was like, he already knew. So like, why? But then I was like, well, maybe it was a way that I know I can go back and it'll be even better. But that was like one of my struggles. So Sarah, you're a junior.
Yes.
I know everyone's like junior is so important. Like it's about your grades. It's really like, is it hard junior year?
Oh, it is the hardest year I've had. Like, it's been so hard so far, and we're not even that far in it, really. I mean, we've been in school for a couple months.
Yeah, I feel like so long.
And it's just like I'm the busiest I've ever been, especially with schoolwork.
And you're taking like AB classes too, right?
I'm taking dual credit classes.
Okay, so even harder.
Some of them.
How do y'all manage, like, because y'all both take advanced classes, right? How do y'all manage that with theater? Because I know y'all are both officers too for theater. So like managing that, is that hard?
Yes. I think like I just kind of schedule out my time. A lot of the time it's like I will go to rehearsal, and that ends around 5:30, and then I'll go home. I'll take maybe a 30-minute break. I'll eat, and then I just spend the rest of my night doing homework, whatever I have to do. I usually have something going on, so
I've actually been pretty fortunate this year. I really haven't had that much homework. I mean, I have a little bit more studying than usual, but I don't have that much homework. But being president of theater, I have just so much more responsibility than I have in years past, and it's crazy the workload that comes with. And I knew it was going to be like a big thing, but it is so much more than I had ever expected. And I have worked on it so much more than I had ever conceived I would.
So y'all are really involved in theater too, especially being president and being officers. Are y'all excited for the upcoming play? Y'all just got done with Rumors. We just got done with our play Rumors. And y'all are in Frank. Are y'all excited about
I
that?
am excited to do it because we haven't done like a drama, it seems like, in a really long time. It doesn't feel like we've done it, or at least I haven't performed in a drama in a while. So I'm kind of excited to do a more serious topic.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the turnaround was non-existent. Literally the day after we finished Rumors, we started Anne Frank, which can be a little bit not great and really tiring, but I really do think this show has a strong message, an important message that needs to be heard. So it's a really fun experience, and it's really just that message has kind of taken off the kind of stress, and it's actually really nice.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, well, I'm not in Anne Frank. I'm doing the student assistant directing. I was like, okay, at least I get like a break. And then I get the schedule, and it's like rehearsal. I'm like, so I'm basically in it. I was like, okay, It's everything again. I was like, I guess at least it's like, it's fun. Like, I like going to theater. So it's like not, oh my God, I have rehearsal.
Right.
I get to see all my friends, so that's all cool. But y'all been doing theater since freshman year? Have you been doing?
I've been doing theater since freshman year,
Going into freshman year, was that like, did y'all do it in junior high?
I did do it in junior
I
high.
did
You
too,
did?
yeah.
Did you feel like any judgment going into high school doing it? Because that's like so much bigger. Or was it like, I'm in theater, woohoo?
I mean, honestly, I just had this weird superiority complex about being like, I did theater in middle school. I'm so good at this. And so it was like, and then getting into my first show freshman year, I was just like, look at me go. I'm doing such a good job. But it's like, I learned that it was like, okay, yeah, this is just like really fun to do. It's not so much just like, oh my gosh, I got into this play and you guys didn't. It's more just like, okay, this is just really fun to do.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot more nerves going into my freshman year. Like, I had done theater both years in junior high. So, like, going into high school, going into freshman year, I was really excited about theater, but it's just very different than junior high. And when you're in high school, there are 3 grades above you. So there's all of those upperclassmen, all of those people who are older than you. And even if they're not trying to be, they're all kind of intimidating. And so in this way, you're kind of like vying for your spot in the group, and you're trying to make a name for yourself when it's really hard when there are people who have been there 3 years longer than you. And it's really scary.
It's like 14, 13-year-old you and 17, 18-year-olds, and you're like, oh my God. I mean, I didn't do theater freshman year, but like, I remember I had a class with Carter and Sean, and they were like, they got casted for one of like the first plays, and I remember Blue being like, wow, they're memorizing their lines way faster than the seniors thought they were going to. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Going into freshman year, were there any other struggles, social like struggles, if it was anxiety, if it was like just nervousness, judgment in general around other people?
Well, I moved from the transition year from 8th grade to freshman year, I had moved from Colorado to Texas. So there was a completely new school.
Yeah.
And so my impression of what high school was going to be like was all these middle schools were going to go into one high school because that's how districts worked in Colorado. And as it turns out, it was like 2 middle schools go into a high school, but it was not really 2. It was just like one kind of transition. So everybody knew each other. And so I was like, wow, this kind of, I don't know anybody. And this is going to be a little hard to like know people.
Was that like hard going into freshman year, not knowing, especially from Colorado? I don't think I knew you came from Colorado. I feel like you told me once, but then hearing that, and I was like, dang, Colorado.
Yeah, it was like really hard. I mean, I did miss out on a couple of stuff. I mean, like I missed out on homecoming because I didn't know anybody and I didn't like want to ask anybody because I was like, I don't know, everybody had their group already.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did meet people. I mean, like my first friends were in theater too, just because that's where I started out. Socials were before the school year started, so I met people before, but like in my classes, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah. Was that after homecoming? Did you regret not going? And didn't COVID happen your freshman year, or was that sophomore year for you?
So with homecoming, I don't really regret not going just because I didn't know anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
I almost regret not asking a group of people that I could have gone with, but I really didn't know them, so I didn't know how it would work out. COVID did happen my freshman year. It happened that March in the springtime. And that kind of sucked because then my sophomore year, it went through my sophomore year and I was online for a semester. And then when I came back to school, I really didn't know anybody because it was
it's like you finally get your friends and you're like, oh, gotta go.
I just spent like half a year not knowing anybody. So it was like going back and I was like, I just don't know these people that much.
Yeah.
But that was kind of hard. But I knew a lot of people in
So this
theater.
will be your first homecoming, right?
This will be my first
Oh my
homecoming.
gosh, that's crazy to think about. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So how did COVID affect y'all? Because I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, that's your freshman year, and now you're a junior, and you're finally kind of giving that like normal school year.
Right. I mean, it was hard because I was like, I didn't know what was going on really, and it
Yeah.
was so long. I mean, I thought that it was not gonna last as long as it did. I mean,
Yeah.
in May, I was like, oh well, we got like 2 months before August, like we're okay,
Right.
Like this can be solved in a couple of months, and then it
Right.
ended up lasting for so long.
I know, it's like you're on spring break, and you're like, oh my God, yes. I remember I was like on the beach at Galveston with my friend. We were jumping up and down like, yay, a week off, a week of spring break. We were so excited. And then it was just like, didn't end.
Yeah, I know. We were on that spring break. We were working on our UIL show for
Really?
theater.
Yeah.
And that Saturday or Friday, it was we were playing a game during rehearsal and we were like, oh, can't wait to see y'all Monday. And then Monday never came. And we are like, okay, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Those 2 weeks never came. And we ended up having to quit our show in the middle of our process because of COVID. So that really hit us all very hard. I know
Yeah.
I was very upset. Like I was very stressed out about the whole thing. Just like maybe I'll get to do it. Maybe I'll get to. And then it never happened. And like my parents never got to see that show because we literally did one performance at our very first competition. So it was really hard. And then just that whole period, that first initial quarantine, just being away from all of my friends,
Yeah.
being out of that social environment. I was friends with a lot of seniors at that time. So some of those people I never got to see again
Yeah.
because they all went away. So that was a very hard time, that quarantine.
Do y'all feel socially? Because I remember going back into school, I was like, because we didn't see any people for a long time.
Yeah.
We really didn't. It was like stay in your house and going back, I was like, I don't know if I remember how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I was like so nervous, with you, especially with you being like new and then going back being like, oh my gosh, I've been stuck in my house. I still don't really know that many people when I have to go in and like meet new people.
Yeah, I mean, I walked into my sophomore classes when I went in person, and maybe what we had like 7 periods, maybe 4 out of the 7, I did not know a single person in any of my classes. And I might have recognized people, but I wouldn't talk to them. Like I just knew who they were, and so it was so just like kind of awkward to just like sit there and do class and not know anybody.
Did you ever do online? Well, besides when we had to.
Yeah, I did online for all of my junior
yeah,
year.
you
I was
did.
virtual all of my junior year. And it definitely came with a lot of different struggles. I initially
Yeah.
did it because, I was just scared to go back. Like that's just what it was. And so I did it that first semester and there were a lot of struggles just not getting that like in-person instruction, that having to like learn from videos, learning from textbooks,
Yeah.
which luckily I was able to learn through and I actually succeeded in all my classes and excelled a lot. But I knew a lot of people who was a massive struggle. Like my sister, she did virtual with me the first semester and she struggled a lot more than myself.
Yeah. I did online the first semester, and I remember having the conversation with my parents, and I was like, I need to go back. My
Yeah.
grades were so bad. I was procrastinating. I would sleep through like 2 of my class periods because they wouldn't assign anything. And
Yeah.
like the stuff that they did assign would be due at the end of the week. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm just going to take a nap. And then it'd go into my lunch and I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to take a longer nap. And so I had a really hard time and I wasn't feeling good. And it just, I mean, at first it was like, I initially didn't do it because I was like, oh no, I can't. Like it's kind of scary. I don't want to. And then just doing online, it did not work out for me. And so I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to see people and like get the like in-person experience.
Yeah, I
again.
did the same thing. I was virtual for a semester, and I was like, I kind of just didn't want to go back either. I was like, oh, I mean, virtual is an option, I guess. So I did it, but my grades were like declining really bad. I thought it would be easier, and then like I was more of a when the teacher's there, I'm like, come here, please. And I'm like, okay, step by step for just me real quick because I'm kind of slow. So it's easy having that person there. When it's virtual, you do have the opportunity to procrastinate and just lay in bed, or my phone's right there, get on my phone, and then I'm just getting behind because I'm not listening now. And then it being due at the end of the week was like, well, I have till end of the week, but then Friday comes and I'm like there till midnight, like, can you hurry up and turn all this stuff in? And I'm emailing teachers. So it was like, but going back was nerve-wracking too. How was going back for y'all? Because you went back this year, and then you went back after first semester?
Yeah, sophomore year. Going back was just nerve-wracking because I didn't know if I was going to know anybody. And then, like, it's just a matter of getting used to it because it'd been, like, how long had I been in school since then? It'd been, like, 8 months.
Yeah.
So I was like, school? I haven't even been in the hallway in a really long time. So that was really stressful. And then totally the fact that there was construction going on at school,
oh my
too.
Gosh. There was, like, hallways that were, like, a couple feet long, and you're like squeezing next to people.
And when they shut down like the main staircases, you had to take different ways, and so it was so crowded, which just kind of like COVID.
I know, it's like COVID, construction. Why does that have to be in the same year?
I will say, coming back this year, my senior year, after a full year of virtual, I was expecting for it to be really, really hard. But I've actually been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Luckily, when I was virtual, I still had theater. So I still was able to come to the school. I was still around my friends. I still made those connections. So I didn't really lose out socially. But just the class load, the sitting in a school for like 6 hours doing work nonstop, that took a little bit of readjusting at the beginning of the year. But now I feel like I've gotten the hang of it. Like, I still get like a little tired by the end of the day, and I'm still like, oh, I wish I had like that extra hour of lunch I had when I was virtual, or oh, I wish I could sleep in a little bit longer like I did when I was virtual. But all in all, it's been a pretty smooth transition. It has been a little stressful, but luckily it's panning out to be pretty okay.
No, that's good. Yeah, senior year so far has been like, I'm like, okay. Like, but then now you've always had steady grades. Have you ever struggled?
Luckily, I've always had pretty good grades. I've always been up there, but not without a little bit of negativity coming with it. Definitely a lot of stress.
Yeah.
A lot of stress.
Because I was just gonna say, as a senior now, I realized I was at my friend's house yesterday, a couple days ago, and her dad goes, "What would you give her like advice for her as a junior?" And I was like, focus on your grades. I was like, I know you're probably like, okay, shut up, don't tell my dad that. But like, and I probably sound like a parent, but like now looking back, I'm like, oh, that would have been so nice. My GPA was like a little bit higher for when I apply. And like, I'm looking back. Are there any like struggles y'all went through that y'all haven't talked about yet, like right now? Besides,
I mean, just like going off the grade thing, I feel like a lot of people don't realize like the way we get these really good grades comes with a lot of stress sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially this year. I'm like fighting for my B in one of my classes because it's just so hard.
Yeah.
And it's not that the content is hard, it's just the workload, and all the workload is points. And so it's like, that is my grade at that point. So it's like just doing all that work is so stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, but that's how I can get that good grade.
Yeah.
Like that's just how you can get a good grade is because of that work. But also it's just like not only knowing what you're doing, but it's also like up to that teacher on what they assign you. And some teachers are really light on what they assign, and other teachers give you like 4 things a week that you have to complete.
How has your relationship with God maybe helped y'all with grades or struggles or being stressed out, helped y'all with through school?
I will say, like, over quarantine, when I was at home that whole year, just being at home, I feel like before quarantine, like, my relationship with God had definitely like grown apart. Like I wasn't very religious. I wasn't thinking about God often. But I will say that quarantine, being home by myself, last year being very stressful, I will say I grew a lot closer. And I really do think especially now I've been thinking about religion a lot. And I really do think that it's really helping me. And it's just kind of a positive light in my life and something that also helps me just kind of relax and like calm down. And just thinking about that, it really has been a positive light and something that's shined through in my life, especially recently.
For sure.
And I think during quarantine, for me at least, and over the past years, it's been my connection with God has been a little strained because it's just I love the community so much, especially in my church. I loved seeing them. I liked being there. And so when we didn't have anything like that, it was a little bit hard because my family, we're religious, but it's like we don't always do everything about it. And like on Sundays, we wouldn't always go to church or anything like that. And so it was like not being at the church and being with the community did put a little bit of a strain. Now that it's open, it's a bit better. And I still feel as connected as I was before quarantine.
Awesome. Is there anything you would tell a junior or you would tell a sophomore, freshman being like, hey, going into this year, like advice you'd give people?
Breathe. Breathe.
Especially taking advanced class. What kind of advice did you give for that?
Last year, I had, I think 6 advanced classes and 1 regular, and that regular class being theater. And I know I was so stressed. There were times where I just felt like I couldn't do anything because I was so stressed. I was so overwhelmed. The only thing I could do was just lay in my room, do nothing, because it just weighed on me so hard. So just breathe, because it's hard. It is so, so hard, but it is so worth it. So just breathe, stay calm, find something that will keep you calm, find something to just relax you.
Yeah.
I know that was a struggle for me, finding what has relaxed me, but luckily I think I've gotten to a point where I know it relaxes me. I know it will calm me down. So luckily this year has been a lot easier than years in the past.
I think my advice that I would give like a freshman or a sophomore is like when you're signing up for your classes and you're signing up for your extracurriculars or something like that, make sure you have time for your family, yourself, your friends. Don't have your life be school, because knowing now I have a lot of my time is just school. And yeah, I have time for social life and stuff. I make the time to do that.
Yeah.
But I have to work a little bit harder to do that. So I think, you want to get ahead in college or you want to get ahead in your classes, but you really got to look out for yourself sometimes. So make sure you make the time for yourself.
Are you already thinking about colleges right now?
I am.
Really?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
I want to do nursing when I fully get into career searches. And I'm looking at UT, Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, Texas Women's, and just a couple others if I can find. Because I'm taking dual credit, I have to do a public school, so that's just kind of where I'm looking right now.
What are you going into or trying to go into?
So ideally, I would like to major in English and history, double major, and go to law school afterwards. Because ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to go into law and go into government. But I also am super passionate about history and super passionate about literature. So after doing some research, I think double majoring in those two is a good pre-law degree. So I'm really excited. I really hope I get into one of my schools, and I'm just really looking forward to my future, in all honesty. Like, these past few years have been extremely stressful, but and I know the years to come are going to be really stressful, but I know when it's all said and done, I'll be in a place where I'm really happy.
Yeah. Is it nerve-wracking thinking about? Because I know I'll be with my friends, and I'm like, that's so sad. I'll probably let's be honest, I'll probably never see y'all again. Some of y'all will probably put effort into it, but most of y'all, you kind of just go do your own thing after high school.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like it's also helped me with, the thought of kind of, I don't know if y'all ever felt that way, but going into high school with judgment, feeling like other people judging me, but then thinking, if I'm saying I probably won't see half my friends, I will never see y'all.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, my freshman year, I was friends with a lot of seniors, and I would consider us friends. But it's now, out of the seniors that I was friends with my freshman year, I only talk to 2 of them regularly.
Really?
Yeah, and then my sophomore year, I maybe talked to like 3 of them regularly. So it's you really don't see these people. You're
No,
really
yeah.
not gonna ever see these people again unless you make the effort to talk to them again.
Yeah, exactly. What are things that y'all would do? Because y'all said y'all found things that helped you relax and breathe. What are some things you feel like someone else might be like, oh wow, I should try that?
Well, I do a lot of, as my friends would say, a lot of old people things.
Oh yeah.
Sarah including. Sarah says I do a lot of old people things.
He does.
Well, like I said, I love literature. Literature is something that I'm really passionate about. So every day before bed, I like to read at least a little bit, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just read a little bit because I love reading. But I also try to find time to do a crossword every day because I really like doing crosswords. I think they're really fun. And then also I can play the piano, so I like to practice on the piano. That usually calms me down a little bit. And every once in a while, I'll pick up the knitting needles.
Old man.
You sound so like
Old? Yeah. That's
It's
what
like
I said.
intelligent too. You're just like, I read, I try to play the piano.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Sarah? Top that.
What I do to relax, I'm a very family oriented person, so I always try to make family time and just hang out with my parents. I love listening to music, so I will listen to music and just kind of relax in my own world. And taking a bath is so relaxing.
Really?
I love baths.
A lot of my friends do, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't.
I just
see that.
think they're very relaxing. I just put like TV on and I
Okay.
just
Yeah.
it's nice. it helps me relax.
Other than all of y'all's struggles, and which I don't take advanced classes, so I'm like, can't really relate. I'm like, as long as I pass,
Right.
I'm good. But have y'all enjoyed high school overall so far? Well, with a couple years, like a year and a half taken away, have y'all enjoyed it?
I mean, with this being my busiest year, it is my favorite year so far. I've had
I
the
know,
most fun.
I've had a lot of fun this year.
yeah.
I will say, like, through all of the stresses and through all the hard times, I've had so much fun and so many gratifying experiences. It really has been truly, I think high school will be like a positive thing that I reflect on.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I'm really glad y'all decided to come on. I was like, hey, y'all want to do it?
Yeah.
Y'all were like, yes. Which I love, like, the fact that, theater kids like that. Like, I'll be like, hey, y'all want to come on? They're like, yes, of course. And then I'll, like, ask, like, friends from, like, a different kind of group. And they're like, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, okay. But, like, I love that, like, that's why I love that crowd, though. It's just
Right.
everyone's so up and they match everyone's energy. But I'm so glad y'all came on to talk about it because everyone does have their own struggles. So the person here that I might talk to probably doesn't have the same struggles as this person that I'm talking to.
Right.
So everyone goes through something else because y'all's are grades. Y'all are like, and I mean, going into like law, nursing, that's stressful. And then other people, it's a friend type of thing. It's like, I don't know who my friends are. It's more of a social thing.
Right.
But everyone has their different struggles, and I'm glad y'all came on here to talk about it because someone who's watching is probably like, okay, like his friend coming from a senior and a junior, an important year and an important year.
Right.
It's like, okay, hearing from them just to breathe and take time for myself could really help them. But it was so nice having you on.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you follow our Instagram, TikTok at Church of Champions Houston, and subscribe to the YouTube. If you have any stories you'd like to share, topics you'd want me to talk about, comment down below. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.